Hi everybody, this is Kevin from Hideaway Homestead. We got a new project going on here today and we're going to show you what we're doing. We're trying to move our raised beds from the east garden down to the west garden. We had a real big problem in the past couple of years actually with the Cogan grass down there. Just wanted to show what this Cogan grass looks like. This is actually some of the raised beds. You can hardly tell that they're even in there. There's so much grass in there. You can see this one. So we moved everything, pretty much everything, down here to this end, and we're reassembling these raised beds that we did have in the east garden. So now we're going to show you what we're doing and how we put these in. We got these panels that are roofing panels actually. It's metal, corrugated or whatever they call it anyway, roofing panels. And we just made the whole bed out of this. What we're doing is we're putting them up like this, and then we put a piece of pipe on the outside corners and on the ends and on the other corner with both corners. So we'll have one here and we still have to put one here. This holds these up and holds them together sort of. And then we'll pile a bunch of debris and stuff in here, you know, limbs and sticks and things like that that can rot down and compost down and that the plants can feed off of when they finally start to grow. We'll also put a bunch of dirt, rabbit manure, chicken manure, all that kind of thing in here also to nourish the soil. The soil here in Florida is so dry and sandy that we can't hardly get anything to grow in it. So we have to really enrich it to make things grow. So we've got pretty much everything on this one in, except this last post right here on the corner we're going to put in. Okay, what we're doing here is Carol's cutting the ground cover with the scissors so that we can put these pipes in the ground, and that will hold up the outside corner of this. And so what we'll do then is take that pipe like she's got right there, stick it in the hole, and push it right up against the side of that to keep it tight, like she has it there. And then we will pound this in the ground with a sledgehammer, and that will hold up the corners and keep them together and keep it from falling apart. Okay, this particular bed is the first one that we moved from the east garden to the west garden. And this is what we've got planted in here already. And as you can see, this thing is thriving like crazy. We've got spinach in this end right here, and then we had a couple tomato plants that just sort of volunteered, popped up. We didn't know they were in here. There's another one here. And then in this middle section here, this is lettuce.
It's a romaine.
It's a type of romaine that Carol put in here. Here's another tomato plant. We need to prop him back up because he's sort of fell over and now he's growing up on his own, but we'll fix that later. So yeah, we got our lettuce in here. And then also here's another tomato plant, and look at how big this thing is getting. It's real thick. It's doing quite well in here. And then this is another bed of lettuce that we have in here. What's this one called, Carol?
It's a mix.
A lettuce mix? Okay.
Yeah. The sign is over there, I suppose, but yeah.
Yeah, it's probably got a tag in here somewhere that says exactly what it is. But
seems to be mostly one kind,
yeah.
Just a curly leaf, but there are a few other little varieties in here too.
I found the tag. It's called a gourmet blend. So there's all kinds of different types in there. Here's one that's called, this is mescaline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the one I replanted with.
Okay. Anyway, so this is what's going on here. So you can see this lettuce is doing quite well. We're very pleased with it. You can see that this is pretty tall and the dirt is sort of like right here. So this lettuce is up to here on my hand. If I put my hand in there and touch the dirt, you can see how high it's getting, and it's still growing. We're still getting more of this in here. Carol just recently, last week I think, planted some more seeds in here. I don't know if you can see them or not. These little bitty guys down here. This is some more that's coming along. So whenever these guys right here are done, these will be coming up, and we should be able to keep the lettuce going for quite a while. One of the things we wanted to talk about today is this little, Carol calls it a contraption, that we built here. We built this to put the shade cloth over. We did that about a month ago, I think it's been now. We were supposed to get some frost in this area, and so we put this in here and put the shade cloth over it, and it kept the frost off of it, and that's the reason, part of the reason this stuff is growing so well still. Also, it helps to hold the moisture in the soil when you've got something over this shading it. But the shade cloth is made in such a way that the water will still go through it, and it still gets rainwater when it rains, and we can water it also. So that's one of the things we wanted to point out. I mean, I know probably a lot of y'all are thinking, what in the world is that plastic thing on there, pipe thing? Oh, anyway, so that's what that is. And we like it. It works out real well for us. We also have another video that we recorded earlier that shows how we put these over the crops that we had on the ground also. So you, let me refer you back to one of those and check that out, and you can see what we did with that. One of the reasons we moved these raised beds down here from the other garden is because we had a problem with the Cogan grass. And again, refer back to our earlier videos and you'll see what we're talking about in there. We put ground cover down and tried our best to keep the weeds from growing up in it. But the way the Cogan grass grows is they're like little spears. They're sharp pointed, and they grew right up through the ground cover that we put down, and it didn't even phase it. So that's the reason we had to move everything down here, because we don't have the Cogan grass on this end of the property yet. We're hoping we don't ever get it this far, because we are a pretty good distance from where that is. So hopefully that will not be a problem down here. We haven't had problems so far with this, and we're also very careful what kind of dirt we put in here and where the dirt comes from. And so that's one of the reasons why we got everything moved up to this end of the property. One of the things that we wanted to point out is the reason we built these beds the way we did is because here in Florida we have termites. You can go pretty much anywhere on our property out in the woods areas and find termites in limbs that have fallen on the ground. So we built this out of metal and put metal pipes on the corners. We've seen them online where other people have used wood for the sides and make them look really nice. It makes a nice looking bed. But for here, we can't do that. If we put wood here, the termites would get into it and it would be gone probably in 1 or maybe 2 seasons, and that's about all we'd get. Pressure treated wood could be used, but we don't, because it's treated with chemicals and it would get into your soil and your food, and we don't know what kind of problems that would cause. So that's the reason we don't use pressure treated wood. You could use cedar or something that the bugs won't get in, but there again, that's an expensive thing. And if that's in your budget and you can do that, great. But for us, this seems to work out well. We have another video that we shot earlier, probably a year or 2 ago, on us building these. So let me refer you back to go check that out. There's actually 2 videos on there. We did the video from when we first built these, and then we did a follow-up also. So go back and check those out and see what we did on those. The wood that we're putting in here, this is some pretty rotten wood, really. It's been on the ground for a long time, and you can see this is what happens. It just turns into paper. It's real soft, and see, that's like a sponge. It rots real fast when it's left on the ground, and also some of it probably got some termites in it, but the termites aren't going to affect the plants, so we're okay with that. This is what they call a permaculture, where you put all this wood and stuff in here. You can use limbs and leaves and grass and whatever you have that will rot and compost down. And that's what we've done with this. And so we put all this in the bottom, and then we'll come back and pile dirt and rabbit manure, chicken manure, whatever we've got that we can pile on top of this that we'll actually plant in, and then it'll all compost down inside here, and the roots from the plants will go down into this and get the nutrition from this whenever it gets down that far. So that's the reason we're piling all this stuff in here. Another idea that we came up with too is the fact that this takes up a lot of room and space inside your bed, and you don't have to buy as much dirt if you're having to buy it like we are. Then this keeps you from having to purchase so much soil to put in your bed. So that's one of the reasons we're using this also. What we're planning to do is come back later, probably next week sometime, and we're going to fill this bed up with dirt and all kinds of composted stuff like we talked about earlier, the rabbit manure, chicken manure, and that sort of thing, and fill this up with dirt and let it sit probably for a day or two, and hopefully we can maybe get some rain between now and then. If not, we'll just come out here and water it and get it wet, and then we'll start to plant this, and hopefully we can get some stuff going. I think we're planting beets maybe in here, maybe some Swiss chard, some different things like that, and we're going to fill this whole bed up, and it'll look hopefully like this one behind me does with all this good stuff growing in here. So anyway, so that's what our plan is for the next week. Thanks for joining us here on Hideaway Homestead today. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button in the lower right hand corner. Give us a thumbs up and leave us comments. It would help our channel a whole lot if you would give us comments and give us a thumbs up. And also, if you would share us on your social media. If you use Facebook or Twitter or whatever, share our information on there and let other people see what's going on as well. So until next time, thanks for joining us here on Hideaway Homestead.